Well, Jim, I know we just reviewed AEW All Out 2024, but Dave Meltzer's star ratings are now out, and people have typically enjoyed us reviewing them.
You misspoke. We didn't just review it. We reviewed it before, but it's not what we just did.
Well, I mean, we just did it on the most recent episode.
Yeah, but we didn't just do it right now with what we were just saying just beforehand. See, that's like, let me ask you a question. The day of if you are on a Monday, right?
Yes. The horse's name was Friday.
No.
Oh.
If it's Monday, as we're standing here, just as an example, if it's Monday,
yeah.
The upcoming Saturday, is it this Saturday or is it next Saturday?
The upcoming Saturday on a Monday?
Yeah.
This coming Saturday.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's also the next Saturday that you come to.
That's why I said it's this coming Saturday.
No, because it's this Saturday, but it could also be next Saturday. Both of those things are correct. That's why we've got numbers on the day.
Well, it can't be this Saturday if it already passed.
Now it can be Saturday after next. Right. See what I'm saying? But nobody says that anymore. Clearly, Saturday after next. That was out next Saturday. And people show up on the wrong fucking day. And they go, where were you? Well, you said next Saturday. Well, this was the next Saturday after you said that.
What does this happen to?
Many people. You see it on the news.
Has this happened to you?
You see it on the news all the time. People are they're showing up to eat dogs. and they show up on the wrong day. I saw it on television.
Yeah, I've not seen this story, but maybe it's only in the Louisville metropolitan area.
I think, and it was Canton, Ohio is where it was.
Well,
anyway, what did you say?
I said, well, and then you said, what did you say?
No, what were you saying before you said that?
Oh, back to the action. The star ratings, Dave Meltzer's star ratings in the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Folks, the entertainment value is going down from here. Now we got to go to fucking Uncle Dave's babblings.
There's always a chance that this could be where he shows you that you and him think alike. He could surprise you with a star rating here and you go, that's not unfair.
He is flattering these fucking people like a drunken sailor sucking up to a New Orleans whore. So I expect everything from 5 to 7.5 stars. Every time they go out there with Uncle Dave watching, they know they stand to make between 5 and 7 stars.
The hard way.
The hard way.
Well, Jim, we did not see the pre-show. On the pre-show, the Acclaim beat the Iron Savages 8 minutes, 8 seconds, 1.25 stars.
Wait, whoa! What did someone have a fucking bout of explosive diarrhea in the middle of a hip toss?
According to Dave Meltzer, this was the weakest AEW match on a pay-per-view show in recent memory.
Good. Do go on. Tell me more about this.
It was almost like God was punishing Max Caster for claiming he's the best wrestler alive because of how messed up stuff was here.
Oh, good Lord.
Wow, I guess we know who Dave doesn't like. Jeez.
Fuck it. But think about how bad it had to be. Did he give any specifics, or is that just the overall impression?
Again, I'll go through what it says here. Jack Jameson, whoever that may be, challenged Billy Gunn. Caster did a brutal-looking Hurricane Rana attempt on Boulder.
Attempt?
The MXM collection, those are the former models who, I guess, WWE is not fighting them on that intellectual property.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sure they're sending them some more. Here, take some more of that shit.
They were watching because they're building to something with them versus the Acclaimed, according to Dave.
Oh, that'll put asses in seats.
Now I wish I would have watched this. Caster botched the Ray Stevens Ric Flair flip into the buckle spot.
Oh, Jesus.
Bronson did a tope on Bowens. Giant Boulder did a moonsault on Caster for a near fall.
Giant Boulder did a moonsault on someone for a near fall.
Bronson did a splash and landed on his shoulder. Ugly. Boulder power slammed both Acclaim members at the same time. Jameson tried to interfere.
Well, I'm sure that felt good too, by the way. One of these big, stiff, fucking green indie motherfuckers power slamming two guys on top of themselves.
Gunn pulled Jameson off the apron and punched him. The match story was that Caster kept trying to pick up Boulder and collapsing to build to the spot at the finish, where he finally got him up for the Death Valley Bomb. Then they did the arrival and the mic drop on Bronson.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, now that may have been the match I might have enjoyed more if that had set the tone for the evening. But I knew we were in for 4 hours, so I didn't really dive into it an hour and a half early.
The next match we didn't watch, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara and Hologram defeating Tony Nese and Arya Daivari and Josh Woods 9 minutes and 50 seconds, 2 3/4 stars.
Well, things are looking up now from the 1.5 or whatever we got beforehand.
Another match you did not watch. Juice Robinson and Austin and Colton Gunn defeated John Silver and Alex Reynolds and Evil Uno.
Oh, Christ.
7 minutes, 33 seconds.
So they're still indulging that fat, pleather-clad fuck that he's a wrestler to where he can at least, work on, send him out on the pre-show. We don't want to hurt his feelings. What the fuck?
2 3/4 stars.
He must have not been in much.
Then came the angle where Sky Blue came out on crutches and Mariah May went after her to be saved by Queen Amanada. Sky Blue was a babyface. I believe she was a heel when she got hurt, so I guess they're bringing her back as a babyface, or maybe just because it was her hometown. No stars applied to this. I think the final match we did not watch, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven and Roderick Strong won a 3-team match over Dante and Darius Martin and Action Andretti and Beast Mortos and Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. 3.5 stars.
All right, so that was the pre-show show, which had to go, about an hour and a half?
We now go to the main card, Jim. MJF defeated Daniel Garcia 23 minutes, 41 seconds, 4.5 stars.
All right. I mean, again, it was how would we boil down our critique of it? It was the best of a bad lot. That type of praise. This was not the best MJF match ever. They didn't, nobody just fucking broke their own goddamn leg or, tore their quads and was left crawling on their bellies like a reptile in the middle of the ring. It didn't suck. Nobody had the explosive diarrhea or projectile vomiting. But again, it was Garcia, so it was a nice MJF match that he participated in and then, was made somewhat of a fucking goof out of at the end because I guess he's gone away. But is that Steamboat Flair ranking quality 4.5 stars?
I don't think it's MJF Darby Allin. What was it? Full Gear? It was one of those pay-per-views. That was the opening match on the pay-per-view. It was the best match on the pay-per-view, and I think it was like 4.5 stars. But that match was better than this match.
Well, yeah, because at least Darby Allin has some element of weird charisma rather than a lot of elements of no charisma.
Well, the next match, Jim, the No Charisma Express, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta.
Oh, God.
Lost to the Young Bucks, 15 minutes, 43 seconds, 4 stars.
I wonder if Wheeler Yuta had to butter up his mother to have her vote for him in the beautiful baby contest. He's just fucking there, isn't he? He's just there.
And 4 stars is just there. I mean, it kind of says a lot that this Young Bucks match, which was a nothing happening match no one cared about, gets 4 stars when it was middle of the road. I wish that was a star rating. You get middle of the road.
Again, if you're even grading on his scale, whatever that may be, with MJF and Garcia, you had something that made some sense, that had some build, and for the kind of people that like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing those people like. Garcia does have his fanciers in the crowd in AEW. But this match, the tag team match, it was, who gave a fuck about that? How was it pushed in any way? Was it a contribution to the evening's festivities? And how was it executed almost flawlessly where it could be a 4-star endeavor? What the fuck?
Well, Jim, the next match, Will Osprey defeated Pac, 20 minutes, 35 seconds.
Wait a minute. Let me guess. It's either 6 or 6 1/4.
5.5 stars.
Oh, okay. He's getting more conservative in his old age, his Uncle Dave.
It really is crazy when you think about it, because the only way it works is if there's a limit. If the idea is the best of the ranking system could be this, even if you later expand it from 4 to 5 stars, for instance, or for even 5 to 6 stars, that means 6 stars has to be the limit. I've heard Dave say that the limit is infinity. What does that mean? Like, if you are a wrestling fan and you're still at this in like 200 years, you'll have like 135-star matches just because time has gone by, so you have to keep expanding the system? It doesn't make any sense, but 5.5 stars for Osprey versus Pac.
Well, I mean, it again, I hate to repeat myself, but for the kind of people who like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing those people like. You know, they did all of the athletics and the gymnastics and the aggressive parkour, and they do it better than anybody else does. They're very sharp with it, that type of thing. But it got, as we mentioned, just ridiculous. It's not a contest anymore. It's live action kung fu movies and video games.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, I've been going back through my old Shaw Brothers films because I have like the box sets now on Blu-ray. So I've been able to watch all these movies I haven't watched in years. That is what it is. This is like the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon era of high flyers, and it's not enjoyable all the time.
And, you know, besides that, my God, when you're 5.5 stars, so we've surpassed anything in modern wrestling up until, 10 years ago in the Tokyo Dome or whatever, with all the great stars and the best workers there's ever been. But still, was this a goddamn big money fucking match? Was this a culmination of a major fucking angle or program or feud or whatever? Was this, or are you just grading on they didn't slip and fall on any of their big flips?
See, the one thing they have going for them is the crowd was really into that match more than anything else on the show. It hurt the rest of the show, besides the booking. The crowd was into that match.
What else was left to do?
Well, the next match, Jim, Chris Statlander defeated Willow Nightingale in a Chicago street fight, 14 minutes, 58 seconds, 4 3/4 stars.
Oh, and thanks for coming, Kurt Angle.
If he got Stokely to manage him, maybe it would help.
He never got, I don't know if he got 4 3/4, but he never got 5. I mean, and read, because I've seen bits and pieces of the recaps on that people have tweeted, but didn't he go on and on about the thumbtacks and the barbed wire and the garbage cans, and so took a muffler off a 67 Chevy and shoved it up the other lady's fucking uterus until it came out her throat and she was whistling Dixie every time she breathed?
That wasn't this match. Maybe you're thinking of a Japanese match.
But how is that? You took a wonderful shit. We've got to really,
well, see, that's,
boy, how, you infected more people with that virus than anybody else in town. We're going to award you what the fuck?
Well, you've kind of hit on another thing, not to say that this match was a virus or these women have one. I thought this was the most enjoyable match on the show, and I said it before. But Dave has also graded on this curve of, I personally don't like it. I don't enjoy it. 4.5 stars. So now you're trying to think the way other people think, but you don't think? Like, there's no sense to that.
Yes, no, there's no logic there whatsoever. Otherwise, and now he's ready for, if you like this kind of thing, then this is the kind of stars you would give it, but I don't like this kind of thing. But the reason why I don't like this kind of thing is because it's girls bleeding and fucking hitting each other with goddamn blunt instruments.
You sounded like the Beastie Boys for a second there.
And going through tables. Girls, and going through tables and doing all this other goddamn garbage and the thumbtacks and the fucking hypodermic needles and the fucking, god damn it, your plutonium, radioactive fission material. What the fuck? How hard do they need to make it on themselves? Everybody's already having surgery. Everybody's already hurt and banged up, or we're going to go through another pain pill era, or straight to, goddamn, let's just sign twice as many wrestlers as we need because half of them are always going to be hurt. So they can keep doing this fucking garbage indie bullshit and get 5 stars from Dave Meltzer.
It's amazing, all the stuff in the 90s in Japan that was like underground and dark and Korakuen Hall wasn't sold out. That's the style that a lot of these people have accepted here in America all these years later. But, Jim, the next match, Kazuchika Okada retained the Continental title in a 4-way over Konosuke Takeshita, Orange Cassidy, and Mark Briscoe. 15 minutes, 6 seconds, 4.25 stars.
Just keep moving. Just keep moving, because what the fuck? He gave one star for every person in the match, and an extra quarter as a tip. That's 25%.
Well, this next one I'm interested in. Mercedes Monae retained the TBS title over Hikaru Shida, 16 minutes, 32 seconds.
Did he? And that was the longest goddamn match of the previous several. And it seemed like every bit of it. Did he mention the wig?
No.
What?
How does he not mention this? Maybe I must be missing. Let me just tell you, 2.75 stars. 2.75 stars is the star rating. The crowd was really loud early, so it was nothing like the Wembley match. The crowd was really loud, really? Where
what?
The crowd was dead. But these two just weren't close to the rest of the matches on the main card. Shida did 4 drop kicks. Looked like Stan Lane taught her how to do them. And the horse collar. But Monae made the ropes. There was some sloppy stuff. Shida did a nice Frankensteiner.
One person almost scalped herself.
Shida did a nice Frankensteiner, but missed the drop kick. Monae did the old bank statement, but Shida made the ropes. Monae did a sunset flip power bomb and double knees for the near fall. Monae came off.
Monae bent over and her hair fell off.
Monae came off the top rope, but Shida got her knees up. Shida hit 3 falcon arrows for a near fall. Shida hit the katana, but Monae kicked out at 1. Both ended up in a tug of war over a kendo stick. No mention of the wig. That was another tug of war.
And here's the thing. We spent a lot of time on the last few minutes of that match. Can you imagine if we had picked it apart minute by minute like he is?
How the fuck could Dave not mention that the final several minutes of the match were her holding her wig in place, selling her scalp? No matter what she did or what was done to her, she adjusted her wig. That was the story of the match. He left it out of the review.
You know what she should have done? She should have done the old inner ear injury and come in with a fucking amateur wrestling headgear. And that would encourage the people to make noise, like when Stan Lane got the artificial hair for that brief period of time. He did the old Mongolian stomper thing where you got a bad inner ear fucking problem, and if the fans make noise, it's going to be painful, and you get these things to cover you up, and that way it holds your wig on, and at the same time the fans are encouraged to scream at you so you can say, stop it, stop it. And they need to have some encouragement to make any noise except farting in her general direction whenever Mercedes comes out.
You know, with the idea that and I'm assuming you have no idea how painful it is for the remainder of the wig and whatever glue holds it in place to come ripping off, we don't know. If it rips up scalp, we don't know. But if you had this happen and you were the promoter or the booker, would you almost think of it as a good thing that you could play into, that do something with, that make the match come alive? And then, again, even if you didn't do the headgear thing, just something the fans now have that they could yell at her and get excited about, teasing her over. It would just lead to something as opposed to selling your scalp the entire second half of the match.
If I was the promoter, what I would do is check with my attorney. And of course, my attorney would be Stephen P. New, so he would know right off if there was a hair clause in the contract. And then I would go back and I would say, look here, I'm paying you allegedly millions of dollars a year. You didn't disclose to me that you were as bald as a peeled egg. You didn't disclose to me when I purchased you for all these millions of dollars that you were bolder than a cue ball. And now I want to nullify this contract because I did not buy for millions of dollars of a wrestler that's going to be tugging at their wig all the time. Until you can grow some hair, I want my money back.
If you're, again, we don't know if she's bald. I think she may just have real hair that's taped down so they can put the colorful
Maybe
wig
she's
on.
she's got the heartbreak of psoriasis or whatever caused her hair to fall out or whatever.
If you're Tony Khan, do you insist that she fires whoever her gluer is? Whoever did the glue job? They have to go?
You're blaming the gluer?
Who else would you blame? That glue did not mix good with sweat, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe the gluey. Maybe she did something. Maybe she was monkeying with it. Maybe she was, trying to fiddle around and fix it after it was glued. I think that the gluer should be at least brought in for a deposition, but you can't just blame the gluer ahead of time. And you can maybe the wig manufacturer. Maybe they didn't manufacture the wig properly to be glued onto someone's sweaty head, as you mentioned.
Well, let's move on here. It makes me wish I was still doing a show at Ron Fuller. I could have asked an expert in wig.
Oh!
But let's go to the next match here. Bryan Danielson. Excuse me, ma'am. Bryan Danielson retained the AEW title over Jack Perry. 27 minutes, 53 seconds. Oh, my God. 4 3/4 stars.
Okay, wait a minute. What did he give Pac and Osprey?
Let me scroll up. I think it was 5.5. 5.5 stars.
Okay, Jesus Christ. If you're rating the art form of wrestling rather than the video game form of wrestling, whether you like him or not, Danielson and Perry had the people more. It was more dramatic. It was more of everything. So if that wasn't on this scale, considering the opposition, and if that wasn't 5 stars, I don't know what fuck he's looking at. What do you think?
I didn't think the match itself was all that great. And again, part of it was it's just hard for me to lose myself in seeing Jungle Boy as someone who could be a serious competitor against someone who's an athlete or someone who has experience. Bryan Danielson's supposed to be the best mat wrestler.
Well, yeah, we reviewed it, but in this field, trying to make some sense of the gradation of his degradation, how was that not comparable to and greater than some of the other fucking things going on?
Well, Osprey and Pac kicked out of more cool stuff. I think that's really what it counts. But let's go now, Jim, to the final match of the double main event. Adam Page defeated Swerve Strickland in a lights-out cage match, 31 minutes, 21 seconds.
Good God on
that last hour was 2 matches.
Oh, boy.
4.5 stars.
4.5 stars because, unfortunately, the plan was for Hangnail to rip off Swerve's pants and pull out his massive, throbbing dong and circumcise him with a rusty fishing knife, but they ran out of time on the pay-per-view window and they had to drop that spot. They had to cut that spot. And they had even consulted with a moil. Bet you didn't know I knew that word, did you?
I'm shocked to hear you say that. I don't know who would have done the consultation. Tony Khan ain't consulted with a moil, I'll tell you that.
My favorite episode of Seinfeld.
The moil?
The moil. And I could have been drunk and laying in the gutter, a piece of garbage, and people stepping over me. And
that episode aired recently, within the last few months, and I watched it, and I always hated that actor. And it finally hit me. He did a really good job in that role.
Yes, because he was so obnoxious that you didn't even like him when he was being brilliant.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, speaking of being so obnoxious that you didn't like him, but neither one of these fucking assholes were brilliant, did he have anything to say for the stabbing of the needles through the face? Has anybody come out and said, okay, yeah, he did. He gave him Novocaine and made his fucking brain numb? Or what was that for? What was the concept of that otherwise than to be fucking weird?
There's nothing in the match review, so let me just go up a little bit to what Dave wrote about the overall pay-per-view. Maybe he mentioned the wig here. I don't see anything here either.
But he just 4.5 stars because they just did all these things to each other and didn't have any controversial opinions about the chair shots. Was the chair sanded down?
Actually, let's hear what Dave says here. The performance by both men was great. The match included both men taking bumps on a cinder block, using a burned wood spike supposedly taken from the house burned down, multiple staples all over each other's body, with blood coming from chests, backs, and cheeks. The finish saw Page use a hypodermic needle and shot Strickland in the mouth and through the cheek.
He is just, again, he's just recounting this like this is something. Can you imagine if a football writer, it was supposed to be writing about reviewing a football game, and he said then the quarterback pulled out a giant hypodermic needle and shoved it in the face of the fucking opposing goddamn guard.
Well, there's a little more here. Let's see, because I'm
just dry and just as matter of fact.
The cinder block stuff was dangerous enough that Page's back was ripped open by it. The needle was gross, a turnoff to many, but not super dangerous.
Oh,
the chair shot is a different issue. I think one of the things that has happened is that with the current people involved in wrestling mostly becoming fans in the late 80s and 90s, there is no personal frame of reference to so many 1970s stars having dementia later in life, and probably won't until the era's stars they relate to get into their late 70s or 80s. To me, seeing the heartbreak of once brilliant guys not be able to remember a thing far more than my parents' friends at a similar age, something you start to see when you are in your own 50s and those people are in their 70s. AEW will argue that the chairs they use are gimmicked and thus safe. It's hard to convince me of that. But given AEW has now done this twice in the last 3 pay-per-views, it looks like it's going to be a thing. And we are 17 years past Chris Benoit, and the mentality towards wrestlers from far too many fans is that they are cattle who should be there for our entertainment, and it's up to them to decide if they are fine with it, and we don't care. Anyway, I left the show with a very negative feeling.
5 stars.
Yeah, he gave those matches like 4.5, like right under 5 stars. What's he talking about?
All right, and we can come back to his foolishness if you want, but that brings something up. And can I address something real quick that nobody is getting the fucking point of about the 70s stars having dementia later in life and the chair shots and blah, blah, blah? May I?
Yes, please. Because as you're saying that, I'm thinking, how much of that was caused by chair shots?
Yes. How many times did Nick Bockwinkel let Dick the Bruiser draw back and full on hit him as hard as he could over the head with the fucking chair without blocking it? Exactly 0 in his fucking career, right? I watched the guys in the 70s. I worked with the guys in the 80s. Every once in a while for the angle, for the big shocking thing on television. Then there'd be the Midnight Express. The Fantastics did it twice. WCWN.
That's the earliest example I could think of like really hard chair shots. 84.
Well, because a lot of the other stuff was done in the territories in the 70s. It doesn't exist, but it wasn't done. It was done very rarely, and it's done for the fucking angle. and it was done for the maximum amount of people to see it. And there was some agreement beforehand. Everybody knew it was coming. And those guys still had ways to fucking block some of the goddamn thing. And the guys swinging knew how to swing, and the guys catching knew how to catch, right? It's still hard, but nevertheless. Then suddenly in the 90s, everyone had Balls Mahoney, Boo Bradley, bless him. You know, but stuff like that going on. That was a completely different animal. And that's what these people's frame of reference is, gimmick chair or not. But it's not the chair shots in probably the majority of cases that are going to get you. Because again, as we said, the 70s guys weren't taking chair shots like that, but they were taking bumps over and over. And they weren't taking bumps through furniture for the most part. And nobody was jumping off the top rope to the concrete floor for the most part. You can find an example of anything from somewhere. But it was the repetition, which is what these guys are still going to have to contend with, because the guys in the 70s took a fraction of the amount of bumps in a match.
How much harder were those rings?
The rings were a lot harder, but that's counteracted by the biggest bumps these guys take are out on the fucking floor. And even with a pad, there's no give. So you've got an acceleration of... What was the chiropractor, or was it Dr. Francois in the WWE?
Francois Petit?
Yes, Francois Petit. He said a flat back bump like a body slam, right? If a guy picks you up and gives you a body slam, that's the equivalent of a 30-mile-an-hour rear-end collision in a car. And, you know, so... drop down, one tackle, hip toss, scoop, slam, fucking whatever, that spot, that was called millions of times in those old shitty rings. But think what's being called now. We're coming off the top with a back-flipping Spanish fucking fly. If the ring is better, we'll just come from 8 feet farther up. That's what that's what's going to affect everybody, whether you're hitting somebody over the head with a chair or not. The chairs can be done with sensible fucking application by professionals who are told the way they're going to do it, regardless of how they want to do it. Oh, just hit me, I'll take it. Well, no, he won't hit you. We're going to do this. I did that in OVW and Ring of Honor. And nobody ever got concussion. A lot of people got hit with chairs. The right way. It did not be stupid.
Yeah, I don't think it was chair shots that led to Vern Gagne or Red Bastien getting dementia.
How many fucking times do you think Vern Gagne ever let anybody hit him with a fucking chair? Have you ever seen of documentary evidence, photo, video that anybody was ever allowed to hit Vern Gagne with a fucking chair?
I think Eddie Sharkey may have tried once.
Well, okay, again, I'm just telling. But nevertheless, they're all fucking digging in the wrong well. It's just be sensible about how much punishment you put your head through, regardless of what the movement is. And these guys flipping over in that match the other day that we were talking about, the girls on AEW, I mean, she flipped off the fucking apron, go through the table, and caught Willow in the back of the head with her legs and knocked her face into the fucking concrete. They're just goddamn human pinballs, and it's going to catch up with them.
Yeah, I always think that whenever someone does the dive that they set up and ends up like there's 8 guys on the floor waiting to catch the person. And the person's diving on them, the idea is that it's going to be a safe landing for them. But everyone underneath, there has to be one of those guys that everything's just landing right on his head, or
somebody gets the knee.
Yeah,
or somebody gets the elbow, and you need reconstructive surgery on your face. It's a matter of time. It's fucking ridiculous. That's why I've said I would rather let they have all done this to me. Jerry Lawler, Paul Orndorff, pile drive me 100 times in a row. than be in the middle of those people to catch one of those stupid fuckers coming one time with his boot heels or his elbows or the fucking knees or the back of his head going to cave my face in because he has no idea where he's landing.
Well, that was the AEW All Out star ratings by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. No mention of the wig. We need to get to the bottom of this.
You know what? It's a cover-up.